Suppose we say here, so model 1, single predictor, right? Only one predictor. And that predictor is income. Okay. So now how do you measure the distance? Okay, distance is measured by the new observations value. There is only one predictor, right? One income for that new observation. So what is the distance between that value and the centroid? Centroid will be x bar. So x bar for one class and x bar for the other class would be the centroid. So class equal to owner and class equal to non-owner, right? So those are the two classes. All right. Centroid in this case is average. I mean average of income. Average income. Let's call it average income, right? So we need to compute the average income for each class. Okay, so we can use here, of course these are separated, but if it is not, we can use the average if function. It works like the count if, sum if. Okay, we've used those functions at one time or another, right? Okay, so here is the help information. So average range, the range that needs to be averaged comes at the end, and the if condition is which range to which the if condition must apply, and what is the criterion, right? So the first, we want to find the average of income, and the if condition is for this column. I'm going to absolute reference this column so we can copy it to column I. And what do we want to look for with the if condition in this range? Owner, yeah. So, well, I'm going to relabel this, because if I had labeled it as just owner, I can use it. So let's say that I'll just use it now, but I'll go and change the label in just a second. And then the average range should come from that range. Again, I need to absolute reference that. Okay, now it's going to give you 0. That's because this cell has, okay, so now if I change it to owner, then I get the and a labeled class here like this. I use that icon. Okay, and once again, now since these two ranges are absolute referenced, I can copy that, and I'll get the average. Okay. So now if we have a new observation, right? So and we're going to have, we're using only one predictor, right? Suppose if that income for the predictor is 50, 60, 70 or 80. So these are the possible values that we want to consider. Okay, what is the distance between each of these value to each class centroid? So centroid for class owner is that value. Centroid for non-owner is that value. So what we need is the distance, and the distance is computed by squaring the coordinate, the difference in the coordinates, and then taking a square root of that, right? When you take a positive square root, that would be your distance, which is same as absolute value of the difference in the case of one value. So that will be the x value, okay, minus that, and I want to absolute reference these two. So this should be, the G10 should be absolute reference to the column, and H6 should be absolute reference to the row. So we can then copy this for non-owner. Okay. So these are the distances. Okay, now we look at so now we have to specify the class, which class they belong to, right? So we need to check whether the distance, the greater distance is the class. So of course, you know, when you have only just a few observations, it's obvious. Here it will be owner, here it will be owner, here it will be non-owner, here it will be non-owner, right? But we want to set up a formula for this, so it will be automatic. Okay, and one way of doing it is if, right? So you can say if this is so, if this is equal to the max of this, so like you can have something like this, if this is equal to max of that, then owner, otherwise non-owner. Okay, so this needs to be absolute referenced. All right, so then you get owner and non-owner. So that's one way of doing it. Well, I used the wrong, which is closer, which is the closest one is what we need to use. We need to use min here. So the opposite of what I just said. These are the distances, and we want to assign the class that is closest to the new observation. So the smallest value is what we need to use. Okay? So that will be our predicted